Welcome to the postgame show presented by the Maroon Club. Every gift matters every year. And our player of the game presented by Coca-Cola. Experience the Coke side of life. Fran O'Hanlon, and we've changed our player of the game. It's Tony Johnson with Dan Mowdy.
All right, thanks a lot, Gary. Tough game tonight, Coach. I'll tell you what, I'm just saying, Army seems to play at a different speed, if nothing else. And as you often say, when you play a service academy, for them, it's the easiest part of their day, it seems.
Yeah, it certainly is. And their offense was terrific tonight. They made shots. You know, we got off, once again, like we did up there, we got off to such a poor start. You got to credit Army. They come out, they really defend us. And then you get down, and then you're trying so hard to get back in the game.
Your counter coach over there, Zach Spiker, said at the halftime break, well, what does that mean? You know, look at those stat sheet. It's only half a basketball game. You guys really took hold of this game at the beginning of the second half with a nice 10-point run, but it was like waking up a sleeping giant, it seemed.
Yeah, then, you know you're going to make a run, but they just responded to that and came back, hit some big shots. And when you get down so much, you're spending so much energy just trying to get back in the game.
Your 10-point run was matched by their 10-point run. Looking ahead, I don't think it gets a whole lot easier as you have Bucknell on the road on Saturday.
No, actually, Bucknell's here.
I'm sorry, here. That's right.
Yeah. So there's nothing easy here, and you know, we just got to regroup and get ready for Bucknell.
All right, Fran O'Hanlon, good luck on Saturday. We'll be here, and I know you'll be here too.
Yes, I will.
All right. Thanks to Fran O'Hanlon, the head coach of the Lafayette Leopards, and now we get to talk to senior captain Tony Johnson. Tony, I'll tell you what, this team, Army, was maybe one of the toughest defensive challenges I think the Leopards have faced all season.
Yeah, absolutely. We went down there a few weeks ago, and we knew exactly what they were going to do based on the last time we played them. They're really going to pressure us and get up in us and force us to be a driving team. Unfortunately, we just weren't able to make shots early on. They got out to a big league, and we could never really come back, even though we made a couple runs.
You know, you've got great numbers season-wide when it comes to steals, when it comes to keeping hold of the basketball. Your assist-to-turnover ratio is stellar. I think no other steal was better this season than the one you had where you danced into the ropes after scoring and then came back to make a steal on the sideline.
Yeah. I think I made a layup and then kind of fell into the cheerleaders and then kind of found my way back on the court, and the ball just got loose and I ended up getting in. I think I got to Seth for another three, so it's pretty funny, I guess.
All part of a great run to start that second half. Taking a look at Bucknell, you know this team pretty well by now. Mescal is always tough, but he has some pretty good support characters as well when they come here on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another big home game for us. It's going to be another big test. They're almost exactly the opposite of Army, where they're going to slow us down, be really methodical with all they have to do. And like you said, Mescal is always makes a big impact when we get there, so we got to really control him and then obviously control all the rest of the players.
All right, Tony, in defeat, a pretty nice effort on your part, leading the team in many ways. 18 points, 7 assists. Good luck against Bucknell.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's bring it back to Gary and John.
All right, thank you very much, Dan Mowdy, and let's take a look at the highlights of tonight's ball game, and that means here's John Leone.
Thanks, Gary. Well, you know, Bryce Scott got off to a terrific start. He had 16 tonight when things were looking darkest for Lafayette early on. It was Bryce Scott who kind of put this team on his back and kept them within striking distance. You saw the drive to the basket. There's a spot up three. Now senior Tony Johnson finds him on a little backdoor baseline cut. Bryce Scott doing a good job early on. Then Tony Johnson knifes to the basket. Joey Tazinski with a steal to Bryce Scott. Doesn't quite finish, but Joey never gives up on the play and gets the follow in. Lafayette showed some signs of life early on, but I'll tell you what, Gary, this was just an avalanche of Army three-pointers. Toth got it going. 2 quick ones for him. And then Kyle Wilson gets started. Here's Toth again. I think he had 4, Gary. Here's Toth again in the lane, kicking it out. Here's Wilson. Watch him drive. Step back. He's 6'4" doing that, Gary. So they've got great size. Watch how easy it was. They've got the roll man. Wilson lets that one goes and then finishes it himself. In the early stages of the second half, Tony Johnson was a one-man gang. He hits a 3. Then he finds Levi Geese. And Gary, what had been a 19-point lead was suddenly down to 9. Tony Johnson on another finish. He really ignited this team, Gary. They had the ball down 9 at one point. There's a dribble drive and a kick back out. Joey Tazinski knocks down a 3 and the place was alive. But I'll tell you, Army came back strong. And that's Josh Herbeck from the wing. And then Army just running, Toth spotting up, doing a terrific job. Gary, but for that little blip, there's Ella Ellis getting into the act. But for that little blip at the beginning of the second half, Army was absolutely flawless on offense. They moved the ball well. When you move the ball like this, Gary, it's no accident that your shots are going in. Kyle Toth again, just too much Army. They brought all the weapons tonight.
They did indeed, as they win this ball game over Lafayette by 17. The good news is you lose by 1, you lose by 17. It goes in the loss column, and Army really the only team able to make ground this week or this night on Lafayette, as they close to within 1 now of the Leopards as they go to 4-5. The Lafayette Leopards go to 5-4. Here's how the numbers worked out for Army. 30 field goals. They were 13 for 24, 54% from beyond the arc as you get a look at the individual numbers, and 12 for 15 from the foul line. They out-rebounded Lafayette 43-25. They were led by Kyle Wilson with 24, Ella Ellis with 20, and as you see, Kevin Ferguson with 14. On the other side, or Kyle Toth, I'm sorry, with 14. For Lafayette, their 68 points came on 25 field goals. They shot just 39% tonight from the floor. 9 3-pointers and 9 for 13 from the foul line, as they had double-figure scoring out of Tony Johnson with 18. Seth and Bryce Scott with 16 each. Seth Hendricks with 16. So there you have it. Lafayette now 12-14 overall. Army now 11-13 overall. Bucknell comes to town on Saturday. We'll have that ball game for you live at 2 o'clock. The Bison right now currently tied for first place with Lehigh. Final score, it was Army 85, Lafayette 68. For John Leone, Dan Mowdy, Rick Gio, the RCN television team. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you Saturday at 2. For all of us, I'm Gary Laubach. Good night, everybody.